Namaste, everyone. Hari Om. We are going to talk today about the Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbs of yoga. So the Ashtanga Yoga, the meaning of the word means 8 limbs, 8 paths, 8 folds. It's been described by the sage Patanjali on the Yoga Sutras about 300-500 BC years ago, long time ago. It's a compilation on the sutras. Sutra means thread. So it's a thread of moral and ethical guidelines on how the yogi, how the seeker of the yogi path, it is going to live their life. Because yoga, it is a way of living. It is how you live your life. How do you experience life? How do you present yourself in life? How do you interact through your relationships? What's going on in your mind? What's going on in your actions? So through the 8 limbs, we create an integration of words, thoughts, and deed, actions. Once this integration goes through a harmonic way of unfolding, then there is no conflict, there is no contradiction, and you are able to practice what you preach, correct? So you are able to really live the life that you are learning about and that you are teaching about and you are talking and you are excited about, which is the yogic path. So 8 folds, 8 limbs, Ashtanga Yoga by Patanjali. The first 2 limbs of yoga, they are ethical guidelines and moral precepts. Okay, so yamas and the niyamas. The yamas are restraints and the niyamas are observances. We're going to start with the yamas. These 2, for me personally, as a teacher, as a yogi, are the most important principles to really integrate through your lifestyle. Most people know yoga about, modern yoga at least, about being connected with asana practice, with physical, also meditation, spiritual, but there is a pre-opening of the path, which is how you conduct yourself as a human, as a person in life. Okay, so what's going on in, and how you project that out. The yamas are the relationship or the way that the attitude towards the environment. Okay, so it's the outside expression of how you live your life. So for the yamas, we have very important step here is AHIMSA. AHIMSA means non-violence, non-harm. So everyone can relate with this. Oh, of course, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to ever make anyone suffer consciously, right? But sometimes to take that to the practice, it requires self-regulation. It requires self-discipline. All of the things that we're going to name today, you'll see they are very much connected with you as a yogi, having this continuous observation of how you acting, how you thinking, how you being in the world, and trying to always get back to center into the self-regulation and commitment to the lifestyle that you chose. So non-violence, AHIMSA. Starting from yourself. How do you feel yourself? How do you mentally the inner dialogue about yourself. How do you, the habits that you have, that are they beneficial for your physical, your mental body, or they're not, or you have a negative habits that you need to modify, that you need to change. Because non-harming starts from not hurting yourself in any possible way. And then of course it projects to the world, no hurting anything that is alive, that your actions, again, your words, your thoughts contribute to the well-being of everything that is alive, everything that is a spark of life. You are trying to help that to thrive, not on the contrary, not to eliminate, not to take from anyone. So this is ahimsa. Ahimsa is related with the asana practice somehow. A lot of yogis start practicing very physically, right? And they try to force themselves into certain poses that the body is not prepared to. This is harm. You're harming yourself. You're not entering the practice from a humble space, from a space of receiving the practice, but you're forcing the practice. This is not ahimsa. So you need to keep this in consideration when you practice, that you need to receive the practice. Okay, you need to feel what your body is capable of doing it in a harmless way. The same thing with your diet. You want to begin to, if it's not present yet as part of your lifestyle, have a diet that is clean of suffering, that is mostly plant-based diet, right? That it doesn't involve taking anything, any animal life in order for your nutrition. So this is progressive changes you begin to do once you constantly reminding yourself, bringing again yourself back to center into this precept of ahimsa, non-violence. We have five yamas, okay? We are gonna go into satya. Satya means truthfulness. Truthfulness, yes, is connected with your own personal truth. It has to be also connected with ahimsa, because you may want to say at someone something that you feel is truth for you, but if it's going to hurt that person, sometimes it's better to remain away from that conversation. Okay, so if your words are going to hurt someone, instead of feeding them a positive energy, you have to always evaluate this. So truthfulness is not only the absence of lie, it's not like false or true in that duality, but it's aligning yourself with the consciousness of the universe. The consciousness of the universe is harmony, balance, and honest. Simple. So when you live your life with that alignment, you are going to always pulsate to be as honest, as transparent, and as clear as you can possibly be. And when you find that you're not being this person, that you either lying, or that you either hiding, or not being as transparent as you could be, there is always this self-observation, this insight that you must take to correct. Right, so this is second yama. And then we have ASTEYA. ASTEYA means no stealing, or no taking what is not given to you, what is not yours. There is a say that calls one, for the person that is established on the non-stealing and the habit of not taking, all abundance, all prosperity will come. Because when you act in a way that you are trying to take from others, that you are telling the universe that you are living in a scarcity, that you don't have enough, that you can provide for yourself. So then the universe is going to replicate that. On the other hand, when you thrive with the abundance of everyone, and you are not wanting or desiring somebody else's things, or somebody else's relationship, or somebody else's ideas, and you're not trying to possess those as they were yours, then you are going to be given the abundance and the prosperity that is for you, that comes to you, through you. Okay, so there is no need to take from no one, because you always will have what is enough for you and what you deserve for you. And this also includes, as I just mentioned, ideas, taking somebody else's idea and making an appropriation as if it's yours. And if you are learning from someone, you always want to call off the source of your knowledge. Okay, giving credit for someone else's knowledge that you are integrating as yours. So this is the third one. We're going to go to the fourth one. The fourth yama is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya can be considered as moderation. Moderation of overindulging your senses. Too much of whatever is not positive. And overindulging is not positive. So you need to again go back to the self-regulatory way of living in moderation. This is also very much connected with your sexual activity. And the times where like the sages were actually very active seeking the connection with God, they will renounce to the sexual activity through celibacy, right? So they will be on their own, no contact with anyone, just complete disconnection so you can go deeply in. On the modern times, this may be not as practical or as possible, but yes, you want to select with whom you are exchanging your sexual energy, because it's a primordial source of energy. So finding the correct partners or the genuine connection with someone in order for you to explore sexuality, that is ideal. Not just jumping from person to person, not being appreciative of what you are giving and what you're receiving. So moderation is brahmacharya. Having an ethical conduct on the way that you establish your relationships. And the fifth of the yamas is APARIGRAHA. This is very important step. APARIGRAHA shows up as a reference a lot in the Bhagavad Gita, because APARIGRAHA means non-attachment. Okay? When you are not attached, you don't have to worry about anything. When you live your life generating relationships that keeps you holding static in place like chains, even if it's symbolic change or mental chains, then it's very difficult for you to be able to really live a life of purpose and live a life of spiritual enhancing, because you have something that is weighing you down. So nothing should be an obstacle for you to grow spiritually. And when you have attachments, those can turn into obstacles. They're limitations. You must walk your path as light as possible, because you know you came to earth to experience on this life. Very, very simple, right? Naked, you got nothing, you brought nothing. Same thing with the way you're gonna depart. So less accumulation of especially material things, but it's also related with relationships. If you put your happiness on somebody else's hand, as in like you cannot live without your partner, you cannot live without your son, you cannot live without your mother, this is not liberation. This is not, you're attached to that person in order for you to be happy. So it's going to be very difficult to seek liberation if you're attached. So, and obviously it goes for material stuff. You only need the basic things that you need and a little bit more, maybe, but you don't need to accumulate or hold on to things. Maybe you give good use to whatever thing that you bought, and then you're able to let it go or donate or give it to someone else, but it's not something that you possess. All right, so this is the fifth yama. we are going to talk about niyamas. Niyamas are the attitude towards oneself. All right? So self-regulatory behaviors. So we're going to start with SATYA. Okay, SATYA means cleanliness. This refers to the external form and also the internal. So how much you can purify your body from in and out. Obviously, it is connected with your habits, what kind of food you eat, what stuff you drink, what kind of different rituals you do daily to cleanse yourself, to take care of yourself without an obsession of just being focused on how you look. But yes, to take care of the temple. Your physical body is your temple, correct? And everything else is inside, but you must maintain the temple clear, clean, strong in order to continue experiencing life. So taking care of the purification of the physical body and taking care of the cleanliness, the purification of the internal body. That includes the things that you select to watch, that you choose to watch, the people that you choose to hang out with, your friends, what kind of energy they have, low vibration, high vibration, the places that you choose to visit and how. So everything that you're absorbing is going to be internal, right? And practices that you do like pranayama, nauli, neti, all of these things to clear and purify, fasting, all right, all of those practices will help to keep your body clean and pure, to be able to channel what must come to you. SATYA. Second niyama is santoya. Santoya means contentment. So cultivate an attitude of contentment through life, no matter the external circumstances. How do we do this? Very hard, right? Very hard to be obviously all the time optimistic. Oh, is everything gonna be okay? No, it's not hard, because if you live on the conscious of the presence of God guiding your life, of the presence of the universe, of the divine source that you're part of, always taking care, always protecting you, you know that even darkness, even shadow, even negativity is part of the process. So you still keep calm, you still keep yourself centered, you still find a way to get the teaching from that negativity. So you are in a state of contentment no matter what. This is connected with gratitude. Being grateful at all times. Gratitude of everything that comes. Again, it could be something negative. It could be a negative relationship. But what do you take from that encounter? Maybe that person was placed on your path, so you get to learn about you, how you react, how you deal with situations, what you want, what you don't want in your life. So, appreciation, contentment, and gratitude. This is santoya. Living your life this way, with that type of feeling for life. Everything comes for you to learn something. Okay, so you must be appreciative for the stones on the road and also the open road, both. The fourth niyama, it is svayaya. This is self-study and study of the sacred texts. Svayaya. Obviously, you are a seeker, so you want to have as much knowledge and as much reference as you can find. Even if sometimes you read or you find material that you don't resonate with, still is food to nurture yourself, to nurture your mind, your intellect, but also to nurture your soul, the stories from the path, where the background of the practices that you are engaging with, the background of the teachers, the stories of all civilizations. We're going to start talking now about the fifth niyama, the right observances, which is the way that we interact with ourselves, our attention, our attitude to the self. So the fifth niyama, the fifth ethical fold is Pranidhana. Once we are in the knowledge, once we connect with the reality that we are the source, that the source, the divine energy is part of us, that we are connected with it, that is protecting us at all times, that is working with us at all times. This is surrendering to the divine, Isvara Pranidhana. And we live our lives with this awareness, with the awareness that God is present in all our actions, our thoughts, and our deeds. And the purpose of our life is to expand ourselves in all our relationships and all our experiences through the presence of the divine energy. Okay, so that is the fifth niyama. We are going to go now to the second limb of yoga. So third limb, yamas, niyamas. Second, third limb is asana. Asana is very well known. It mostly has the reputation for being the yoga practice, mostly on the West anyways. But asana doesn't have that much reference on Yoga Sutras, besides the mentioning of Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means that the postures, asana means to sit. So the postures, the yoga postures must be comfortable, steady, and stable. So this is related again with AHIMSA. A lot of students, they start practicing yoga and they want to force themselves into certain positions without paying attention or being aware that they can be hurting themselves. So asana is a progression, right? You progress, you evolve through the practice, but you enter the pose and we have the effort, the commitment to the pose, but then as you hold, you maintain effortless. And that's why it must be comfortable and steady. You should feel feeling good in the pose, not that you're struggling through it. You're not supposed to be suffering through a pose. You're supposed to practice until the pose comes to you naturally. You enter in the pose and you receive the pose. The practice of the asana has many benefits. Each asana has a purpose, and obviously it helps the temple to stay in good conditions, stay supple, stay strong, flexible. But the goal of the entire practice of the system of asanas is to prepare the body for long periods of meditation, to sit straight in a meditative pose, lotus pose, or kneeling position, and remain there for long periods of time. So that's why we are practicing asanas. And of course, it has many other benefits at all levels: physical, physiological, psychological, and emotional. Then we have the fourth limb. The fourth limb is pranayama. Prana, energy, life force. Pranayama is regulation and expansion of the energy life force. How do we do this? Through the breath. Regulation of the breath. So we use breathing exercises to create certain effect through the body. We change the breath for being an automatic function, something that we all do naturally to be alive. We take the oxygen, we release carbon dioxide, automatic function. We convert this action into a voluntary action through awareness of the breath, mindful breathing. And then we do different techniques. We use inhalation, uraka, kumbhaka, holding or retention, rechaka, exhalation. right? And we combine this in many ratios, in many ways, different capacities to give you certain effects. So as we regulate the breath, we obviously regulate our nervous system, the response to stress, the response to any type of situation, how you react to a situation according to how you breathe. And as well as expansion of your prana. Energy life force is very much connected with your breath, because energy life force enters through you once you take your first breath on earth, leaves you once you take your last breath on earth. So an intimate connection between the breath and your energy. This is pranayama. All right. So from pranayama, these are practice, right? Lifestyle practice, yamas and niyamas, how you conduct yourself internally and externally, right? So then we go asana practice, breathing practice, regulation of the energy, regulation of the breath. We're gonna go now deep into the last four. The last four limbs are intrinsically connected. Next one is pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses. So we are humans, we're experiencing a human life. We have five senses if they're all functioning. How we absorb the world, how we communicate, how we interact with the world through our five senses. We see, we touch, we smell, we taste, all of those things. Although those senses are much more necessary for us to explore through our experience, in order for us to have a more introspective type of experience, type of life, okay, type of moment, we must withdraw the senses to go in. So it's almost like we're shutting down the external stimulation to dive within ourselves. So we narrow in the perception and we go all the way into one pointed attention, and that leads us into dharana. Dharana is the sixth limb of the Ashtanga system, and dharana is concentration. So after we narrow the organ of perception, we are able to concentrate into one pointed thing at a time. And this is something that you don't have to do only when you are going to sit for meditation. You must do this at all times. You can do this as you wash dishes. So instead of thinking in your mind about something else, you can absorb yourself into the action, feeling the water, feeling the detergent, feeling the dish, feeling the sensation in your hands, and be absolutely concentrated on what you're doing. The same thing when you're taking a shower. Very important to use dharana when you're eating, feeling the texture, the pleasure of the flavors, the way that you chew your food, the way that it goes through your body, the nutrition you're absorbing, the blessings of that food. So that is absolute absorption into one pointed object. Okay? So pratyahara, dharana. We're gonna go into dhyana. Dhyana is deep stage of meditation. Dharana is the entering stages of meditation. Dhyana is deep state of meditation. So now we have different options. We are absorbed one pointed concentration object. We put an uninterrupted attention into that object. It could be tatra. You can do it in the flame of a candle. You can do it with a yantra, with an image of a mandala, and concentrate your attention on the center of the image. You can do japa meditation, repetition of mantra. You can do breath meditation, sound meditation with mantra repetition too as well. You can do vipassana meditation when you just simply sit to observe your thoughts, to observe what is the content of your mind, and don't interfere, don't make any interpretations or assumptions. Just simply be observing peacefully what is inside you, or what are the things that you need to know that are like ready for you to receive. So preparing yourself to receive knowledge. And that's why we do meditation, because we empty the mind of all content and we focus the attention so we can actually receive the knowledge that we need to get at that point of moment. We're able to listen within. And that is deep state of meditation. It must be uninterrupted. It must be, again, a commitment for you to sit and remain there. It takes practice. Everything comes with practice. Everything comes with your commitment and your decision that this is what you want to do. A lot of people have difficulties with meditation because they feel that meditation must be, oh, your mind should be completely still and silent. And not really, because the function of the mind is to be active, is to be alert, is to detect certain things. This is the mind's role. So it's not going to shut down unless you make it do it. And you are in command, then you decide if your mind is going to continue with a constant chatter, or it's going to be able to relax, be peaceful, calm. Once you are in that state, then other things will arrive. And the eighth limb, it is what we could call the goal of yoga. Traditionally, we say yoga has no goal. It is the practice of being at the present moment. Here, be now. Feel here, feel now. Deal with your emotions here and now. That is the practice, right? At the moment. But the entire system of the yogic path has an ultimate goal, and that is Samadhi. This is the eighth limb. Samadhi means liberation, enlightenment. Moksha means liberation. Samadhi means enlightenment. They're connected, because once you find that Zen-like trance, absolute divine unification with Source, you are free. There are no more attachments. There are no more things that you need to regulate constantly, because you have been touched by the divine consciousness that you are part of. So once we establish that connection, your entire life is at service to expand that source of purity, the source of life. This is what you do with your life. Your commitment is to be on that atonement with the Source. And this is the enlightenment, the absorption with the divine. At this point, there is no more object. The object of concentration, of attention, and you become one. There is no more separation, no more duality. It's just one source, one force of energy. And these are the 8 limbs of yoga. It's a beautiful system. It is a reminder of how we are living our lives constantly. And there is not an ultimate step. Enlightenment, yes, could be called the, level where you are in that surrendering to the absolute truth, to the absolute creation. But then you get back to normal life, and sometimes there are going to be other things testing your capacities. So there's always this body, this structure, this guidelines that you can rely on to be able to be as integrated through the way that you live your life, through the way that you live the yoga teachings as possible. It has been my pleasure to give this lecture. I hope it was something that you enjoy. Namaste.